Hi, my name is April from Tiger Solar Power. I am here today to just run you through the iSolarCloud portal that applies to Sungrow PV systems and battery systems. We're going to go through two sites today. One is a PV only, one is a battery system. So we will start with the PV only. So one of the most important things to pay attention to on your desktop version of the app is your status. So you always want to see this one in normal. If it ever falls into offline, it means the system has disconnected from your home Wi-Fi. We do have walkthroughs available on our website to help you make that reconnection. If you're having any issues, feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to get that reconnected so you can have the benefit of your monitoring. The status might also be fault. Obviously not what we want, but if that does happen, reach out to us and we can do a deep dive to find out exactly what's going on. Coming further down the page, you've got a weather forecast, which is nice. And you can then come to the power flow. So a pretty self-explanatory little diagram here, but your panel picture, that's the big number associated is what your system is producing at this moment. You can see by the direction of the image flow that the system is currently feeding in 1.88 kilowatts to the house. That number will obviously vary based on the needs of the system and the performance of the house. And at the moment, it's a bit overcast outside. So the system is needing support from the grid. So you can see that the home, to support the loads going on, is also needing to draw a varying number of kilowatts from the grid. If during a beautiful sunny day, the system is ever exporting to the grid, so you've got some excess solar power going on, you would see a flow come down the right-hand side here. So this is your real time. To get a bit of a deeper dive on the system's performance, and again, we are in the overview category here on the left, you can come down the page and this will give you an overview of the system's performance. So it does track from midnight to midnight. So it's about 3:30 in the afternoon at the moment. So we can see the whole previous day's performance. It does give you a code. So you can see that the sort of orangey red color is your PV performance. So you can see up here, there were some overcast periods where the system production did fall, but most of the time the system is producing around about that 6 kilowatt mark on these peaks here. The yellow below is the home's loads. So this home coasts along at around about the 1.1, 1.4 kilowatt, somewhere between there. So all throughout this period, you can see that the load is drawing from the solar, and the blue is your grid export, your usage above the line, and your export to the grid below the line. So any power, for example, at this point of the day, the system was producing 5.9 kilowatts. The house was needing 1.2 kilowatts, so that remaining 4.6 was exported to the grid. You can track back along the days available to yesterday to see a whole day view. You can see again, the system performed well all day. And then you can see when the customer probably came home from work in the afternoon, the loads peaked up, and accordingly, the grid usage peaked up alongside as their solar was ramping down for the day in the evening. It does give you total figures up here as you track back through the days. So you can see that your production was 33 kilowatts all day. You can see that the consumption was 63 kilowatts from the grid overall. And with these figures, you can find that we exported about 30 kilowatts to the grid over that day. You can also track back further. You can get weekly overviews. You can see monthly overviews, again, with those values separated out. So your PV production, your grid draw, and the house loads accordingly. Monthly overviews like this, and potentially even the yearly overview, are great for comparing your quarterly energy bills. So if you receive a bill with some of your feed-in tariff on it, you can come here and compare those values against what you can see that you've fed into the grid. For example, July this year, you can see that you exported 198.7 kilowatts. Obviously, systems will vary. We are at a bit of a lower period for solar at the moment, so not quite as much export as we would see over the summer months. For this one, we can also view lifetime data. So it is handy to be able to compare how the system's performing year on year. The system was installed partway through 2024, which is why these values are lower, but it's good to have a check, see how the efficiency on the system is performing overall. Coming down further on the left-hand menu here, you can view your system by device. So you will see your inverter and the smart meter, as well as the communication module, which is the Wi-Fi device. Sungrow gives you this extra depth of view. So if there is a problem with the system, we can actually isolate the problem down to parts of the system as well. Curve is another view on the performance of the system. Slightly less user-friendly, I find. So I always go with the overview on that first tab. But again, it gives you similar data to that first window. So this is a PV-only system. I'm just going to navigate over to a battery system so we can take a deeper look at that as well. All right. So this is a site with a battery addition too. So essentially what this one does is on the left-hand side of your power flow, it adds a battery. So this customer at the moment, their battery is at 100% charge. So we can see that. Hence, at the moment, there's no power flow into the battery and the home is being supported by the solar system alone. So it's not needing to draw on the battery. So the battery is just sitting there at the moment while it's not required. Once it is required, so once the sun goes down this afternoon, that battery flow will start to show along this line here. We'll start to show it feeding into the house, and that discharge will vary depending on the loads required. Similarly, in the layout here, you will see that it adds a teal green line to show your battery state of charge. So this battery charged up beautifully this morning, was full by about 11:30. Coming back across, we can see that again. Yesterday gives us a bit of a fuller view. So the customer starts to dip into their battery, usually by about 4 o'clock, and then even more when the sun goes down at about 6 p.m. And you can see as the loads are required, the battery state of charge drops towards 0. Another good tab to have in your arsenal is settings here. So Sungrow gives you the ability to force charge your battery, potentially when the days aren't so sunny and you would like some extra draw from the grid to charge your battery at times when it's cheaper, usually between about 1 and 6 a.m. You do pay about half for power during that time. You can actually set the system up to draw from the grid. It's called force charging. So inside settings, you come into device parameters, you highlight your plant, which is usually your own name. You come into common settings, into energy management parameters, and then you can enable force charging. You can select that it happen every day, a start time and an end time based on 24-hour time. To dive deeper, Sungrow also offers you the ability to insert your exact bill values. So it can spit out your feed-in tariff, how much money you've saved, give you an idea on how well the system is performing into plant configuration. So if you come across into Tariff, you can update how much you pay for peak electricity, how much you receive for your feed-in tariff, and you can get as detailed as you would like. So if you are on a time of use tariff, quite a few customers are, once your smart meter is upgraded, you can break your bill down into peak, off-peak, and shoulder. So for example, you would start with peak, starting at say 4 p.m, ending at 1 a.m, and the amount, and you can break that down to be as detailed by adding period as you would like. That's a basic overview of the Sungrow portal. Going back to the overview, again, probably the most useful view. If you would like any help wading any deeper into these settings, don't hesitate to reach out to us at Tiger Solar Power. We're always happy to help. If you get stuck or you think you've maybe changed a setting that wasn't meant to be changed, again, feel free to reach out. We're also happy to do a number crunch with you, see how your system is performing at any stage. Thank you, and give us a call at Tiger if we can be of any further help.